forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods.
Incoming Strategic Holocaust. Segmentum Solar Classified Crusade Briefing Designation. Armageddon Crusade File Access. Phoenix Omega Primaris Author. Inquisitorial Scribe Drexus Veil. The Flames Rise Again. A Crusade report on the war-torn world of Armageddon. We thought the worst had passed. We were wrong. Attribution unknown. Scrawled in blood on the gates of High Volundus, across the scorched plains and irradiated ruins of Armageddon. Where generations of bloodshed have soaked the soil deeper than the bedrock itself, a new nightmare dawns. The skies weep fire once more. A rift, massive, profane, and seething with warp-born corruption, has torn open in the red wastes. A demon gate, carved by dark rituals and mortal sacrifice, now bleeds unreality into the mortal plane. From it pours an ever-growing tide of corruption. Heretics, traitors, demons. The Imperium is besieged on all sides. In response, the High Lords of Terra have authorized a renewed Armageddon Crusade, placing command in the hands of High Marshal Helbrecht of the Black Templars and Great Wolf Logan Grimner of the Space Wolves. Together, they rally every loyal blade, gun, and tank to the Emperor's call. But will it be enough? The belligerent alliances of the Armageddon Crusade won. The Marauders' alliance from the shadows of sin and song emerged the Emperor's children, agents of chaos most debased, twisted post-human monsters of perfection and excess. They march with an unholy host of demons, whispering prophecy and ruin. Some claim the Dark Prince Belaker himself guides them, a shadowed figure whose whispers corrupt even the strongest will. The Marauders move with purpose. Their goals remain hidden, their strikes unpredictable, their ambition boundless. 2. The Desecrators' alliance, the decaying fist of chaos, pounds mercilessly upon the surface of Armageddon. Dominated by the Death Guard, this alliance is led by none other than Mordorion, demon Primarch of Nurgle. His warbands are accompanied by demonic engines of rusted horror, belching plague and filth across the hives and wastelands. The Desecrators seek not simply victory. They seek to remake Armageddon in the image of decay, to turn its every living thing into a grotesque monument to entropy. 3. The Sanguine Defenders, the defenders of the Emperor, gather under the burning banners of hope and vengeance. Forming the fragile shield wall are Xenotation Spot, the countless regiments of the Astra Militarum, conscripted from dozens of worlds. Xenotation Spot, the Adeptus Astartes, chapters sworn to reclaim what was lost. Xenotation Spot, the valiant Imperial Knights, noble households who stride the wastes in towering machines of war. Xenotation Spot and the Golden Demigods themselves, the Adeptus Custodes, Praetorians of the Emperor, sent to safeguard this world as a final bulwark against damnation. Together, these forces form the last hope of Armageddon, a coalition of fire and steel standing tall against the endless dark. The Crusade begins. The opening movements of Phase 1 have already seen brutal engagements, tactical blunders, and acts of unimaginable courage. The land burns, the heavens scream. Every soul trembles beneath the shadow of coming apocalypse. Will the Marauders succeed in their shadowy designs? Will Mortarion's legions grind the world to rot? Or will the defenders of the Imperium hold fast and purge Armageddon of heresy once more? Only war will decide. End transmission. Phase I underway. Updates to follow. Astropathic transmission. Segmentum Solar Archive. Phase I report. Authority level. Vermilion/Crimson. For Imperial eyes only ++++++ subject. Armageddon Crusade. Initial engagements and strategic losses transmitted by Scribe Archivist Galen Loraicus. Holy Terra date 3.206.005.m42. The gates are broken. A crusade in flames by the grace of the Emperor and under mandate of the High Lords of Terra. This bulletin is issued to all command echelons and archivists attached to the Armageddon Crusade. In what is now being mournfully recorded as the first phase of the Armageddon Reclamation Crusade, the Gatebreaker Alliance, the vanguard led by a lance host of noble Imperial Knights, has suffered a catastrophic defeat. Deploying to secure a corridor of clearance for advancing forces of the Adeptus Astartes and Astra Militarum, the Knights encountered unexpected resistance from the vile Emperor's children. But this was no mere warband. Bolstered by a tide of demonic entities vomiting forth from rent reality, led by mighty greater demons, the Marauders Alliance launched a blasphemous counter-crusade of their own. Despite valiant efforts, the Knight households were overrun, their towering forms falling amid screams of corrupted ecstasy. The forward assault shattered. The corridor was never opened. The heretic plan, still veiled in sinister mystery, has succeeded in its first phase. The Templars advance and fall elsewhere. The venerable Black Templars initiated a swift incursion deep into contested territory, eliminating a roving Death Guard scouting force with righteous fury. During their purgation, they uncovered intelligence suggesting the presence of a long-lost Imperial relic, one buried within a defiled sanctuary deep within enemy lines. The Templars, undeterred by peril, mounted a holy retrieval assault. It was a trap. Awaiting them was Mordorion himself, demon pre-march of the Death Guard, surrounded by his plague-ridden elite. The Templars fought like lions of the Emperor, but even their zealous rage could not stem the tide. The relic remains lost. The Templars scattered or slain. The sanctuary now a festering tomb of failure. Mortarian ascendant Mordorion, once beleaguered by rampant demonic incursions that turned on his warbands post-landing, has not only repelled these hostile entities, he has crushed them. The diseased fury of Nurgle now walks unimpeded across Armageddon's scarred surface. Reports estimate a contagion radius expanding with every breath he exhales. No Imperial force has yet slowed his pace. None have survived him. The Despoilers encroach with Imperial lines buckling, the Desecrators, a warband of unrivaled ferocity, dominate the central theaters. Yet even their iron grip now feels the pressure of encircling horror. The Emperor's children continue their eerie advance, their movements masked by shadows, their presence heralded only by screams and warped Vox transmissions. A strike is imminent. None know when. All fear it. Custodian shield, fractured on the eastern defense lines, long believed to be abandoned, a contingent of the Adeptus Custodes held fast. A radiant line against the dark, surrounded by cultist hordes and demonic masses, they stood their ground, their blades golden, their hearts unyielding. But no defense can withstand eternity. They have ordered retreat. This is not surrender. It is sacrifice. Their stand has bought time, if only a breath. Knights broken, faith tested meanwhile, the Imperial Knights have suffered grievously. Their remnants, bloodied and staggered, attempted to regroup. Yet the relentless Death Guard struck again. A second wave, more brutal than the first, slamming into the already shattered lances. Now they retreat further, their banners torn and war horns silenced. A black dawn rises. Phase 1 has ended in calamity. The Imperium has one minor victory, the elimination of a minor Death Guard probing force. But such small lights flicker amid the darkness. The enemies of man have encircled Armageddon. Mortarion marches, the Emperor's children sing, and the Imperium bleeds. End transmission standby for Phase 2 orders. Astropathic transmission. Segmentum Solar Archive. Phase I. Continuation authority level. Vermilion/Crimson. For Imperial eyes only subject. Armageddon Crusade. Chaos Dominance transmitted by Scribe Archivist Galen Loraicus, Holy Terra. Date 3.212.005.m42. When the plains burn. The death corpse of Krieg, long the hammer of the Imperium on Armageddon, have shattered. Once disciplined regiments, entrenched in the ash-choked front lines of the Red Wastes, were overwhelmed not merely by enemy fire, but by corruption from within. Warp whispers and demonic influence turned fear into zealotry, loyalty into heresy. Substantial portions of the Krieg forces have risen against the Emperor, swelled into heretical cults and traitor guard units. Where once shells fell upon demons, now they fall upon loyal troops and fleeing survivors. The southern plains, once held with grim determination, have become a staging ground for the Chaos Advance. The Death Guard and the rise of Nurgle, the Desecrator's alliance, dominated by Mortarion himself, moves as a plague tide across Armageddon. His warbands sweep through the shattered guard positions, flensing the wounded and twisting them into plague thralls. The air itself carries rot, pestilence, and despair. High Volundus teeters. Hellsreach's outer walls shudder under the relentless assault. Meanwhile, demon hordes pour from the rift in the Red Wastes, flooding the front lines. Greater demons march beside plague-ridden abominations. Corruption spreads faster than the Imperium can respond. The Emperor's children, Slaanish's agents, weave through the chaos, sowing terror, warping perception, and striking at command nodes with precision and malice. The Grey Knights descend. In the midst of the rout, a fleet of strike cruisers pierce the warp storms. The Grey Knights arrived, stepping into a world ablaze with plague and fire. Strike Force Castigon engaged in brutal close-quarters purgation, cutting down demons and turncoat Krieg alike. 3 greater demons of Slaanish were banished, and entire cultist warbands were eradicated. Their intervention stabilizes sectors, but it is not victory. The rift still bleeds unholy energies, and Mortarion's main host advances unimpeded towards central Armageddon. The Black Templars' fury. To the east, High Marshal Helbrecht rallied the remnants of the Loyalist forces. Chain's words roared the Emperor's name as Black Templars charged Death Guard formations. The assault was savage, unrelenting, a calculated storm of fury and faith. Yet every engagement exposes the Emperor's children's cunning. Slaanish's cultists strike from shadows. Nurgle's rot marches onward. Even Templar valor cannot cover the flanks of retreating Loyalist regiments. The line holds, barely. Together, the Grey Knights and Black Templars have carved a tenuous shield through the chaos tide. They hold the only open path to the Hive bastions. Without them, Armageddon itself might have fallen in Phase 1. Yet the Imperium pays dearly. The Krieg are gone, the Guard is fractured, and entire sectors of Armageddon now answer to Nurgle and Slaanish. The rift continues to pulse, warping reality and drawing demons toward the front lines. Phase 1 has begun, but the Crusade is still in peril. Imperial warning. The Imperium must consider all options. Use the Grey Knights to assault and attempt to seal the demon rift. Commit the Black Templars to a counter-offensive to halt Mortarion's march. Contain traitor Krieg regiments before they fully coalesce into a chaos-aligned army capable of flanking Loyalist positions. Armageddon bleeds. The Emperor's wrath is needed more than ever. Armageddon bleeds. The Emperor's wrath is needed more than ever. End transmission. Stand by for further Phase I directives.